Welcome back to Kin in Line. I'll make this part 77. When you've got 40 years of artwork stashed away in various places, you keep encountering new stuff. So I thought I'd emptied one suitcase full and found this pile of large works, which I'll go through quickly. This was a woodcut I did in 1982. So after the army, and I based this on a sketch I'd done earlier, a sort of out of the left field. So I quite enjoy the texture I achieved here because I didn't have all the equipment I would have had at art school. But I just clearly bought some ink and a roller and then carved out these lines and used two colors. It's called Sphinx, but I don't look. It's resting on two little spindly legs. This seems to date from the army days. Again, where the hell are we going? Outstretched arms. I think a lot of people my age, faced with the prospect of conscription for so many 10 years of our lives, This is from the imagination, just some sort of little frigate or something. More relaxing were these drawings from the imagination. But which way up? Yeah, probably had it correct. And then for some reason I kind of mounted this. So these were these drawings I got into at one point. There's two figures with the one with the elongated arm above the other. And this I've done in 85. This is what I mean about if you include a series of drawings in similar vein, they work well together. And here is a lionesque type of creature. And my kin Nick surname, signature. At least I left it there. It looks okay. Not a attractive sight, really. Interesting, though, what the mind can come up with. I'm literally seeing these for the first time since I did them. I quite like this one particularly. They're quite big artworks, really, too. There's always a face lurking in there. This is like a stormy landscape, but with this rather, fierce-looking face, or the evil-looking face. Yeah, it's quite weird to see these for the first time in 35 odd years. Signed by this strange chap, Kinnick. So now you go from those straight out of left field to this, which was sketched from the shore in Port Elizabeth in the mid-80s. And this sailing ship, I forget what the purpose of it was, but it visited the PE harbour. Or it sailed past, I don't know, but I was able to sketch it a few times. Same paper as, same card as that other one. This is almost like me having no camera, particularly no zoom camera with a zoom lens, and then just compensating by trying to record it as best I could. Could easily work that up with a bit of watercolor. Too slack. Mounts and things. Perfectly good piece of card. So this was another woodcut, which I think I did straight onto gelatin wood. It's a soft wood. And then I sort of, made a few prints. And that's how it looked in black. And then I did a few variations. Here I sort of did it in brown, and then I tried to watercolor over it. I'm not sure if it really works as well. I suppose it's okay. And then, so this says 1982, so I was still in East London when I did this. And then, also from 83, prawn pumping. So I did a quick sketch also on a piece of wood, and then I printed it and then watercolored over it, because I just printed the one color. So that was on the Bonza Bay beach. Here's another one. So each one becomes, although there was a print run of 6, each one's different because I use different coloring. I quite like the fact I did it not on white, but on this sort of cream. Yeah, these two, again, different coloring. Forgotten I'd done this one altogether. And this, I must have done the same here. So I printed him there, quite poorly printed. And here I've just embellished with a bit of colour. It's quite an interesting picture, really, compared to that, which I should actually also just work over with some watercolour. This is very much the phase I went through straight after the army. These combination of pen and oil pastels to make weird and wacky animal shapes, really. If I'd been 6 years old and done that, people would have said, oh, gee, at that age they can make any composition and it always just looks great. Now, when you're in your 20s and you do this, child art doesn't have the same resonance. Gee, but I really am seeing these now for the first time since 1980, 40 odd years. This slender figure here casting a shadow. Quite interesting. And I almost missed these. They were lurking in the bottom of that suitcase. Oh, look at this creature. Terrified by this little mouse. So he's got all his defenses up for a mouse. And then there was this thing again. Different color. I think the previous one was brown. Yeah, it had two colors. This is just black and white. I vaguely remember this ginormous rooster crows at the break of dawn. Look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm travelling on, so don't think twice. It's all right. That's Bob Dylan. Quite a memorable one, that. And I do remember it. I showed you a sketch of this couple looking the other way. It was a little girl and her grandfather. And then I must have done this woodcut as well in the early 80s. Oops, it's the same thing, just doesn't really work. Another one of that, and we've seen Koffenwaber before. I showed you it mounted. So I've got a few of these. It was about a 5-color woodcut that I did. Sort of varied. They're not identical, but they're pretty similar. And this strange creature, imagine I spent all that time carving, doing this woodcut, this dung beetle-y thing. Also in the early 80s. Here I think I tried to embellish that Koffenwaber one with some watercolor. Actually works quite well. Same here. Just I think the original. Quite like the heat of it, sort of African heat. Here the color is less warm. Look how warm that is there compared to. Yeah, plenty of these. There's another one. Another little creature. And then that funny beetle thing. Coloured it in a bit with some watercolour. Does add to it. And the last beetle. This is Paul McCartney. Crapping away there. Very odd. Anyway, I'll leave it for now. Cheers.